Riding mountain bikes in wet weather is amazing fun, but of course you need some decent waterproof clothing in order to do that. And like any technical mountain bike gear, you need to maintain this stuff to make sure it consistently works and stays working. We've hooked up with Gore in order to give you all that information you need in maintaining and looking after your waterproof clothing. There are a lot of waterproof and breathable garments available for mountain bikers to use. Some are more breathable than others, some are more waterproof than others. Now usually it is a bit of a sacrifice trying to work out which one's best. But when you say waterproof and breathable, to me, the name that instantly springs to mind is Gore-Tex, which of course is so well known for the fact it's completely waterproof and highly breathable. But what is it that actually makes this technology work? Gore jackets and other garments are made up from multi-layers of fabric, and they all revolve around the all-essential Gore-Tex membrane. Now the Gore-Tex membrane is the key to the system. Now this stuff is covered in pores. In fact, there's 9 million pores per square inch, and each of those 9 million pores is 20,000 times smaller than a droplet of water. So because of this construction, of course, water and wind cannot pass through, but as you're sweating, that heat vapor can be released from the jacket, so you're not going to be clammy on the inside. The breathability is like nothing else. The real key thing to the Gore-Tex membrane, above many other fabrics available on the market, is it's not affected by oils from your skin, it's not affected by stuff like insect repellent, which can be highly damaging to other fabrics out there. Now, although the membrane layer itself of Gore-Tex fabric doesn't actually need anything to keep it waterproof and breathable, the outer shell layer has in common with a lot of brands, and that's this sort of stuff that has a DWR coating on it. So it's that DWR coating, durable water repellency, that effectively keeps the water beading off you when you're riding or when you're just outside in the wind and rain. Of course, this is what we really associate with a waterproof jacket. Now again, the membrane will stop that water coming through, but when the DWR coating wears off, the fabric of the outer shell of a jacket, and this applies to all waterproof jackets, becomes saturated. It starts going dark in colour and becomes very heavy and sits close to your skin. Now it might feel that your jackets are actually leaking at this time. They're not. It's just the saturation of the wet out makes it feel clammy and cold on the inside, and that's really uncomfortable. And when you're cold in the middle of winter, it's quite horrible. So looking after your jacket can restore that DWR coating and that water repellency that you really need to stay warm and dry in winter. Now, just like that DWR coating is essential to look after on the outside of jackets, there's also a few things on the inside that you need to pay attention to. Now, most waterproof jackets will have some kind of seam sealing on them. Now, of course, the fabrics used are completely waterproof, but when they're stitched together, there's tiny stitch holes. So the seam sealing basically seals up all of those stitch holes so water cannot pass through. Now in time, that stuff can deteriorate with your sweat and just constant use, crumpling up and stuffing in your riding bags, all that sort of stuff. So you need to basically maintain your jacket just like you would any other piece of tech kit. Other jackets like pack-like materials or other more modern materials quite often are welded together and might not have seam sealing because it's not needed. This particular jacket is a pack-like one, and it does have some seam sealing, but it's very different looking to the more traditional style, which you can actually fix yourself at home. The essential key to looking after your waterproof jackets is to keep them clean. It's really the simplest thing you can do. When you come in from riding, make sure they're nice and clean. A good idea, perhaps if you're just wet, is to hang your jacket up and let it drip dry. It's the best way to make sure that all that stuff comes off the jacket, and it's going to have the best chance of doing its job again afterwards. If you come in and you're completely muddy, you've got a couple of options available to you. One that I quite often choose to do is, whilst I'm washing my bike, I'll hose the jacket down at the same time just to get the worst of it off. In fact, you can see this jacket here just by my side. I've hosed off the worst of it. It has got some mud on it, but it's not too bad. And it does mean after a few more rides, then I'm going to give this a proper treatment again. You have to decide what works best for you with your particular jacket. Now this is absolutely key. You need to know what your fabric is, you need to know what the traits of the fabric of your jacket is, and how you treat it accordingly. Now when it comes to washing Gore-Tex fabrics, you'll be quite pleased with your investment because there's really nothing that special you have to do. And they actually encourage you to wash Gore-Tex fabrics and Gore jackets on a regular basis. All you need to do is wash using your normal household washing powder at 40 degrees. Now, you have to make sure at all costs you do not use a fabric softener. Now, this goes with all technical waterproof jackets. This stuff wreaks havoc with the breathability of jackets and to a degree the waterproofness as well. Now, whilst Gore jackets don't need to be tumble dry to reactivate anything, drying a jacket is always good. It does help with that DWR coating, and many other jacket manufacturers recommend warm tumble drying to reactivate the DWR coating. Now, some particular waterproof jackets, you're definitely going to need to use dedicated proofers and retreaters to reactivate everything. Now, you don't need to do this with Gore. Again, you don't need a tech wash, just your regular household washing powder will be fine. Whereas other jackets, they recommend you to not use household products. So again, that's fine with Gore, but not with all brands. Now, Gore tell you to not use a wash-in reproofer because this can actually create havoc with those 9 million pores. So that's a bit of an issue with Gore, so don't do wash-in reproofing treatment. Now, this particular spray is by Nikwax, and this is recommended for use on Gore fabric, so you know it's safe to use on your Gore-Tex jackets, but also on Event and Sympatex fabrics. Now, something often overlooked with us mountain bikers is the zips of a jacket. Now, if you're a road rider, this is far less of a concern because you clean your jackets and it's fine. But riding off-road, you're going to get sand, grit and mud all getting in the way of the zips. Now, some zips are a lot finer than others. Some, of course, are a lot chunkier and less affected by this. Now, you need to make sure the zipper mechanism is fully clean, and if possible, you want to lubricate it as well. Now, it doesn't mean dripping some chain oil on your jacket. You can't really do that. It's not going to have the right effect. It does depend on the type of zip you have. If you have a metal zip, the graphite that you get in pencils is quite good actually for lubrication. It's often used by locksmiths to actually lubricate the inside of locks. Now, if you insist on using a pencil, it's not the easiest way of doing it. Make it easier for yourself with a carpenter's pencil because the lead in them is quite a lot bigger. But you can get dedicated graphite in tubs, powdered graphite, and it's much better and it's really the right thing for using on a metal zip. However, for actually lubricating a regular zip, I found chapsticks worked really well. You can use wax, of course, to do this, and there's a dedicated zip lubricant available. If you just have a look online, it's easy to find and it works really well. Can't recommend doing this enough because I've had this happen to me on several old jackets. This is a very fine zip and actually got clogged up with mud. And one particular rider just went to zip it up and actually ended up tearing the fabric on the inside of the jacket. Really pay attention to your zips and your jacket's going to last you a long time. Now, given the nature of mountain biking, you're going to tear a jacket here and there, and you're also going to wear through fabric. So you're going to have to do a bit of maintenance on stuff at home. Now, this is a pair of old Gore-Tex shorts I've had for, I don't know, probably 6 years now. And as you can see, they're a little bit worse for wear. Just around here, you can see there's a bit of damage to the stitching where the seam sealing's coming away. So you can actually replace the seam sealing from the inside at home by getting yourself a roll of this stuff. It basically irons on and repairs any seam sealing that's peeling away. It's really good stuff to have, especially if you've invested in a high quality jacket. But you can also get dedicated Gore-Tex fabric patches, and you can get general fabric patches like tent repair patches that do a really good job of basically patching up these sections that are particularly bad, because I have no intention of getting rid of these. They still do their job on a daily basis when riding to work, so I'm going to use them until they literally fall apart. Now, a lot of waterproof jacket manufacturers and actually technical clothing manufacturers offer repair services as part of their warranty or an extended warranty program. If you're spending a lot of money on a waterproof jacket, it's definitely worth checking that because that will be part of your original cost. If you're out riding for a weekend or on a trip, keep some Gorilla Tape with you because you can do trail side repairs on your jackets. This stuff sticks to most things, of course, when it's dry, but it's waterproof, and of course it's going to patch up a hole on a jacket. Perhaps if you've torn it on some barbed wire or a sharp tree, or if you've fallen off your bike and torn a gaping hole in it. This stuff's amazing, but you can't beat the dedicated Gore patches or tent repair patches, and of course that seam sealing stuff. This stuff is brilliant. So there you go, that's everything you need to know about looking after and maintaining your waterproof and breathable jackets. Click down here if you want to see everything about night riding. As always, don't forget to subscribe to GMBN, and if you like seeing me get wet, give us a thumbs up. Brr.